I am going to reveal a secret in this speech. A secret so powerful it determines whether a man lives with fire in his eyes or sorrow in his chest. A secret so simple it can be practiced in silence, and yet so commanding that all riches bow to it. This is not a secret you will hear spoken in the streets, nor taught in schoolrooms. It is not written on parchment, yet it is etched into the rhythm of life itself. This secret, when applied, produces joy without limit, peace without pause, purpose without confusion. It is not hidden from you. In fact, it is hidden in plain sight, woven into the very words you are about to hear. If you listen closely, not just with your ears, but with the full attention of your mind, you will discover it. And once you find it, you will never again chase false joy. You will become the source of it. Now let me warn you, if you hear these words while distracted, if you let them pass through your ears without taking root in your thought, you will miss it entirely. And the price of missing this secret is high. I have known men who owned great estates, who walked among the halls of power, who had money enough to feed cities and time enough to do nothing. Yet they stared into the void with hollow eyes. They whispered in private, "Why am I not happy?" They bought another home. They hosted another party. They wrote another check. And still, they felt nothing. One of them, I will not name, he once said to me, "Hill, I would give every dollar I've earned if I could wake up with joy even once a week." And I replied, "You do not lack joy because of what you have. You lack it because of what you are not doing." The happiest people I have known are not those who possess the most, but those who practice a single habit every day. A habit so definite, so orderly, so spiritually aligned with infinite intelligence that happiness must follow it as surely as night follows day. In this speech, I will not just tell you what that habit is. I will show you how to live it, but I will not name it outright. Just as I did in Think and Grow Rich, I will hide this truth in every part, so that you may feel it, recognize it, earn it. The man who listens with attention will see it. The man who obeys it will live it. And the man who lives it will be blessed beyond measure. You will learn why most men miss happiness. You will learn how to build it daily through definite thought. You will learn how money supports it, but never replaces it. You will learn how to destroy the enemies of joy: fear, indecision, complaint, distraction, drift. You will learn the single daily habit practiced by all the happiest people I've ever known. And more than learning, you will be commanded to apply it repeatedly until happiness becomes your natural rhythm. If you neglect this message, your life may grow outwardly rich, but remain inwardly bankrupt. You may achieve, but never feel fulfilled. You may own much, but never feel complete. But if you obey this message, if you grasp the hidden thread and hold it tightly, your days will change, your mind will clear, your emotions will obey, and your joy will no longer depend on mood, on luck, or on the world. It will come from you, through law, through obedience, through repetition. So I ask you now, are you ready to become one of the happiest people alive? Not by waiting for joy, but by building it? Then let us begin, but listen closely, for the secret is hidden, and it is yours to find. Part 1, the real definition of happiness and why most men miss it. Happiness is not a thing to be found, it is a state to be built. The man who waits to stumble upon it will wait a lifetime. But the man who understands its cause, who lives in harmony with the mental and spiritual laws that produce it, will carry joy with him wherever he walks, not because life is easy, but because his mind is governed. The average man chases happiness the way a child chases shadows, only to collapse when it vanishes. He believes it is in the vacation, the bottle, the praise, the arrival of some future possession. He calls pleasure happiness. He calls escape fulfillment. But when the pleasure fades, when the thrill dulls, when the moment ends, he is left emptier than before. Let us expose the illusion. Pleasure is the reward of the body. Happiness is the reward of the soul. Pleasure fades. Happiness deepens. Pleasure is passive, it is received. Happiness is active, it is earned. A man may possess every comfort, every indulgence, and yet be in misery, but a man may have little, yet possess joy beyond explanation. Happiness is not a product of chance. It is not scattered by the wind. It is the spiritual harmony between a man's thoughts, his purpose, and his action. When what you think, what you desire, and what you do are all moving in one direction, joy becomes the natural result. It is not a mystery. It is a law. I have met men who appeared to have it all. Their names were known, their accounts were full, their homes were vast. But behind closed doors, they whispered regret. They stared at walls in silence. They wondered why, with all they had gained, they could not feel complete. And I told them what I now tell you. You cannot feel joy if your soul is unemployed. A rich man without a purpose is a poor man in disguise. A successful man without direction is an empty shell. He has mastered the outer world, but the inner world is in ruins. For happiness is not found in comfort, but in contribution. Not in stillness, but in movement. Not in having, but in becoming. Let me tell you of one man. He had built a fortune through inheritance. His estate was vast, his possessions many, but he drifted. He woke each day without need, without effort, without vision, and in time his spirit withered. He began to seek sensation, then distraction, then destruction, not because he was wicked, but because he was unfulfilled. Now contrast this with another man, Abraham Lincoln, born into poverty, battered by grief, ridiculed in youth, burdened in office, and yet history records not merely his achievements, but his joy, a strange spiritual peace beneath the weight, because he served, because he walked in alignment with what he was born to do, because he lived not for pleasure, but for purpose. This is the truth. Happiness is the reward of obedience to your definite chief aim. It is not a product of mood. It is not dependent on events. It is born the moment your spirit begins to move in the direction of your highest calling, the moment your energy is no longer scattered, but united. A man who knows what he wants and moves toward it daily is the happiest man on earth. Not because he has arrived, but because he is advancing. Not because the world bows, but because his own conscience does. His thoughts obey him. His steps reflect him. His actions are in harmony with his vision. Happiness is the feeling of spiritual progress. It is the quiet fire that burns when you know that your hours are not wasted, that your mind is not adrift, that your effort is not empty. It is the sacred result of a life lived in direction. Now I ask you, what is your direction? Do you know it? Do you speak it daily? Do you act upon it? Or are you still waiting for the world to make you happy without first commanding your mind? In Think and Grow Rich, I declared it plainly. Happiness is found in doing, not merely in possessing. This is no poetic phrase. It is law. It is truth. It is the voice of infinite intelligence speaking through discipline. And now you must choose. Will you chase shadows, or will you build the source? Will you wait for happiness to arrive, or will you construct it with definite thought and purposeful motion? Speak this aloud. I am happiest when I build. I am happiest when I obey purpose. I am happiest when I move forward. Repeat it not with hope, but with certainty, and let every word take root. You are not far from joy. It is nearer than you believe. It does not lie in the world's gifts. It lies in your hands, in your mind, in your obedience to the law of progress. Now that you know the truth, we must continue, for there is more to expose. There is a deeper deception to correct. There is a sacred understanding of wealth and joy that must be brought to light. Part 2. Money can buy comfort, not contentment. Let me declare it at once so there is no confusion. Money is important. It is not evil, nor is it unspiritual. Poverty is no virtue. It is, in fact, a destroyer. Poverty eats away at the confidence of a man, starves his dreams, depletes his health, and breaks his will. I have seen what poverty does to the character of men, and it is not noble. But do not mistake my words. While poverty is a curse, money alone is not a blessing. Money is a tool, and like any tool, it serves the one who wields it with intelligence. But it cannot give you peace of mind. It cannot give you purpose. It cannot give you joy if your spirit is wandering and your mind is divided. Money can buy comfort, but it cannot create contentment. There are men in this world who have inherited fortunes they never earned. And with that money came confusion, not clarity, decay, not direction. They did not know the discipline of building, the joy of effort, the power of thought. They possessed the result, but not the cause. And so it meant nothing. I knew a man who owned 4 estates, 10 automobiles, and more than 1 yacht. His picture was in the papers. His name was known by many. And yet he told me in private, "I have everything I ever wanted, but I feel like a ghost in my own life." He did not lack resources, he lacked purpose. His money gave him rooms, but no reason. His wealth gave him property, but not peace. Then I met a man who had only a modest income, but a mind aflame with vision. He rose early, he spoke his aim aloud. He worked each day to serve his clients and build his vision. And though he did not yet possess great riches, he walked in joy. Because his mind was rich, his spirit was alive, and his thoughts were definite. Happiness does not come from what you own. It comes from what you are building, from the direction of your thought, from the harmony between your ideals and your efforts, from the certainty that you are becoming more today than you were yesterday. Andrew Carnegie understood this. He built one of the greatest fortunes in American history, but his true joy came not from the steel itself, but from what the steel made possible. He used it to create jobs. He used it to empower the people. And when his empire was established, he gave the majority of his fortune away, not because he hated money, but because he understood that its highest use was service. You must never look down upon wealth, but you must never look up to it as if it were a god. Wealth is a great servant. It is a powerful ally. It brings options, freedom, security, but it is not the builder of happiness. It only obeys the mind of the one who knows his definite aim. Without a chief aim, wealth becomes a wandering spirit. If you pursue money without purpose, you will find sorrow. I do not speak of opinion, I speak of spiritual law. The man who worships gold will find his heart growing cold. But the man who moves in purpose, who sees money as a means to serve, to grow, to advance, will find that wealth follows him like a shadow that cannot be shaken. Let me make it simple. Use money. Do not be used by it. Command money. Do not bow before it. Respect money, but never mistake it for joy. There is no joy in having more than others. There is joy in building what only you can build. There is no peace in collecting more things. There is peace in knowing that what you have is aligned with your purpose. There is no contentment in hoarding. There is contentment in giving, in serving, in producing value by thought. Would you like to possess both wealth and happiness? Then build both with the same laws. Begin with definite thought. Operate in faith. Move in decision. Persist in direction. Remove all envy, all drift, all complaint. Speak your aim aloud. Work with a clear conscience. Serve where you can. And let money be the obedient byproduct of an organized mind. Carnegie once said, "Surplus wealth is a sacred trust. That trust is not just to give, it is to grow. And the one who grows in riches while also growing in spirit is the truly wealthy man. He enjoys his money, but he is not defined by it. He spends freely where it serves his aim, but never where it distracts his soul. He builds homes, but he also builds ideas. He buys books and tools, not just comforts and noise." Now hear me. The danger is not in having much, but in having no direction. The danger is not in being wealthy, but in being spiritually poor. The real risk is to chase wealth as if it could fix what only purpose can fix. Let your aim come first. Let your obedience to that aim produce value. Let that value bring wealth, and let that wealth be governed by your vision. In this way, money becomes not a stumbling block, but a stepping stone. Now repeat this aloud. I command money. I use it for growth. I never mistake gold for joy or power for peace. Speak it again, this time with belief. Let the words settle into your subconscious mind. For you are now shaping a new relationship with money, one that empowers rather than enslaves, one that builds rather than blinds. You will find happiness not in what you hold, but in what holds your mind. Not in what fills your pockets, but in what fills your days with motion toward purpose. And so we continue. For the next step in happiness is not in wealth, but in repetition, in the discipline of joy, in the habit that trains the mind to rejoice not only in results, but in the daily march toward your highest self. Part 3. The daily discipline that creates lasting joy. There is no lasting happiness without discipline, and there is no discipline more powerful than the daily declaration of one's definite chief aim. Joy is not reserved for those who wait. Joy is created by those who rise each morning and command their day into obedience. The man who begins his day without purpose is like a ship that sails without compass. He may float, but he will never arrive. His hours may be spent, but his soul will feel poor. His work may be done, but his heart will feel empty. He may smile, but the smile will not reach the bones. But the man who begins each day with mission, who reminds himself aloud of his purpose, his aim, his direction, that man walks in joy. Not because everything is easy, but because everything is clear. He knows what he serves. He knows why he wakes. He knows where he is going. Happiness begins when vagueness ends. The soul hungers not for rest, but for forward motion, and nothing satisfies the spirit like progress toward a known destination. That progress begins each morning with a simple but sacred act, the declaration of your definite chief aim. Speak it aloud, not muttered, not memorized, but declared, with tone, with belief, with conviction. When your mind hears your voice command it toward purpose, it obeys. The subconscious mind is a faithful servant. It follows the one who speaks with fire. Edison was not merely curious, he was committed. He awoke not only with ideas, but with direction. Ford did not just dream of cars, he rose early to build what others believed impossible. Lincoln, even under threat and heartbreak, began his days with the burden of union clear in his mind. These men were not only great, they were disciplined in aim. Joy was not something they stumbled into. It was something they built, brick by mental brick, day by deliberate day. They knew happiness is not in perfection. It is in progression. It is in movement. It is in the sense that today I serve my purpose again. And what does this require from you? One ritual, one moment each morning that changes the rhythm of your day. Here is the practice. Rise before the world begins to speak to you. Sit in silence with your thoughts for just a moment. Speak your definite chief aim aloud, slowly, clearly, with emotion. Review what progress you made yesterday. Identify at least one forward step to take today. Give thanks for the opportunity to begin the work. This ritual is simple, but its effects are profound. It turns a wandering man into a commander. It turns confusion into clarity. It turns aimless hours into purposeful action. It turns empty ambition into tangible joy. You say you want to be happy. Then begin with order of thought. Begin with daily remembrance of why you were born. You were not made to drift. You were not made to complain. You were not made to seek happiness in the pleasures of others. You were made to build. And in the building, joy is born. Joy is not found in applause. It is found in alignment. It is not gifted by the world. It is forged by the will. It is not the result of what you consume. It is the byproduct of what you create. Most men live in drift. They wake late, think vaguely, act impulsively, and regret constantly. They beg for happiness, but reject the order it requires. You must not be like most men. You must rise differently. You must speak differently. You must live by the law of discipline and reap the harvest of joy. This is not theory. It is spiritual law. And like all laws, it cannot be broken, only obeyed or ignored. And your reward will match your response. Repeat this aloud and repeat it daily. I rise with purpose. I speak my aim. I move forward. This movement is my joy. Let this affirmation become the tone of your mornings. Let it shape your first thoughts. Let it cancel every voice of fear, doubt, and hesitation. For when your mind moves forward with intent, joy becomes the natural companion. You were not created to wait for joy. You were created to build it by movement, to create it by advancing your purpose, to multiply it by repeated obedience to your mission. And now, having learned the discipline that builds joy, we must build upon it. For joy does not come only from motion, but from what that motion produces, growth. Part 4, the greatest source of happiness, growth in spirit, thought, and action. The soul of man was not made to remain idle. The spirit of man was not formed to settle. Growth is the law of life, and any man who violates this law by standing still, even in the midst of wealth, will find himself starved for joy. Happiness is not in what you keep. It is in what you are becoming. A man may sit in the softest chair, in the grandest house, surrounded by every luxury, and still feel the ache of uselessness. Why? Because he is not moving forward, because he is no longer expanding, because he has mistaken security for fulfillment, and in so doing has arrested his own soul. Growth is not a gift, it is a demand. It is written into the fibers of man's mind. It is inscribed in his conscience. The tree must rise, or it dies. The mind must stretch, or it shrinks. The heart must reach outward, or it grows cold. Where there is no growth, there is no gladness. I once knew a man who built a fine business. He reached what the world calls success, but then he stopped. He decided he had done enough and ceased to reach. And in the silence that followed, his laughter died. He began to grow cynical, bored, and empty, not because life was unfair, but because he was no longer rising. Then I watched another man, one with fewer advantages, less recognition, but an open mind and a willing heart. Each day he studied, each day he served, each day he built one new skill, deepened one relationship, and explored one new idea. And though his rise was quiet, his spirit shone. He glowed with joy. Happiness flows from progress, from the sense that one is enlarging his thought, elevating his spirit, refining his character. A man who is growing cannot help but feel alive. For growth proves that he is in harmony with infinite intelligence, the source of all movement, all expansion, all joy. Growth is not limited to wealth. It appears in thought, in speech, in the way a man chooses his words. It shows in his patience, in his obedience to purpose, in his resistance to fear. It shows in how he treats his fellow man, how he manages his time, how he commands his inner world. You ask, how can I grow each day? I answer, by small, definite, deliberate improvements. Read one page with full attention. Write one line of truth. Speak one word with more power. Refuse one fear. Pursue one opportunity. Practice one virtue. Refine one weakness. Growth is not in revolution, it is in rhythm. It is not in bursts. It is in daily obedience. It is not in drama, it is in discipline. The man who improves 1 inch per day becomes unrecognizable in 1 year. This is the beauty of the law of cosmic habit force. Whatever you do repeatedly becomes your identity, and identity becomes destiny. So if you grow by habit, if you stretch your mind, your spirit, and your action each day, joy will follow you like a loyal servant. Understand this, joy is not passive. Joy is the echo of motion in the right direction. When you feel yourself enlarging in courage, in skill, in usefulness, in grace, your spirit rejoices. And that rejoicing is called happiness. The man who resists growth resists joy. He clings to the past. He hides from challenge. He fears discomfort. But the man who embraces growth walks into the wind. He leans into the unknown. And he becomes greater than his former self, not once, but always. Repeat after me. Each day I grow. Each day I improve. Each day I become. And in this becoming I rejoice. Say it again. Say it as a vow. Let it plant a seed in your subconscious mind. For the joy you seek is not waiting ahead of you. It is waiting within the act of growth, within the climb. within the stretch of your faculties toward a higher aim. Growth in spirit means greater patience, greater clarity, deeper understanding, stronger faith. Growth in thought means more accurate thinking, more definite ideas, greater imagination. Growth in action means swifter decision, more persistence, cleaner execution, stronger habits. All this is available to you now, not when the world changes, not when money increases, but when you commit to becoming more today than you were yesterday. That commitment is your key to joy. And now that you know the law of growth, you must also face its enemies. For wherever joy rises, it is opposed by forces of hesitation and fear, and we must destroy them. Part 5. The greatest enemies of happiness: indecision, drift, and fear. Joy cannot dwell in a divided house, and the most divided house a man can live in is his own mind. Indecision, drift, and fear are the three thieves that rob a man not only of his fortune, but of his happiness. They do not knock. They do not shout. They whisper. They creep in when thought is unguarded. They grow where discipline is weak. Indecision is the seed of sorrow. It is the habit of the man who refuses to choose, and by refusing becomes a prisoner of circumstance. The man who waits for perfect clarity will never move. The man who hesitates at every crossroad turns his life into a maze of regret. His energy leaks, his faith fades, and his joy is always postponed. Indecision creates anxiety. The mind was made to hold a single dominant thought, not a parade of alternatives. Every hour spent in maybe is an hour stolen from peace. You cannot rejoice while doubting. You cannot advance while hesitating. You cannot live fully while waiting to decide what living means. Drift is the death of joy. It is the silent killer. The man who drifts has no direction, no clarity, no self-command. He rises because the clock tells him to. He moves because the world pushes him. He sleeps without progress and wakes without vision. He performs tasks, but he does not perform life. Drift creates emptiness. He may laugh, he may eat, he may even succeed by accident, but inside he knows the truth. He is not choosing. He is reacting. He is not building. He is surviving. The drifter knows nothing of the quiet pride that comes from moving toward a definite chief aim. The happiest man is not the one who has it easiest. He is the one who has decided, the one who has burned the bridge to retreat, the one who has committed his energy, his time, his emotion, his very identity to a forward path. Even when the path is hard, the spirit is alive, and then comes fear, the master of all failure, the cold hand that touches every drifting thought and turns it into panic. Fear is never satisfied. It feeds on your attention. It multiplies when you listen, and the more you wait, the stronger it becomes. Fear is not real. It is a shadow cast by indecision. Fear blocks the heart. It slows the feet. It silences the will. And worst of all, it makes a man feel as if his dreams were wrong to begin with. It persuades him to lower his aim, to forget his gift, to retreat into mediocrity and call it safety. But hear me now. No man has ever tasted happiness while bowing to fear. No man has ever built a great life while seeking comfort first. The builders, the joyful, the fulfilled, they all faced fear, stared it in the face, and marched anyway. Lincoln had death threats written against him, but he acted. Ford risked it all to serve his vision. Schwab made decisions with fortunes on the line. And every one of these men would tell you, the act of faith feels better than the safety of fear. So what is the cure? The cure is decision. The cure is purpose. The cure is movement. The cure is the repeated act of choosing what builds, rejecting what weakens, and speaking your aim aloud until it becomes the natural rhythm of your mind. You must destroy the habit of hesitation. You must silence the whisper of fear with the shout of faith. You must remove maybe from your vocabulary and replace it with I will. The man who decides builds. The man who drifts decays. You say you want happiness. Then burn indecision, command direction, speak action, and walk in obedience to your purpose even when the path is foggy. The fog will lift for the man who keeps moving. Now declare this aloud. I do not drift, I do not delay. I decide, I act, I command, I rejoice. Let these words be more than sound. Let them be law. Let them enter your subconscious and take root. For the man who obeys decision is the man who walks with peace. And the man who walks with peace is never far from joy. You now know what to remove: indecision, drift, and fear. But what then should you replace them with? What is the divine law that multiplies happiness the moment it is practiced? It is the law of service, and this we now turn to next. Part 6. The secret of service. Why giving produces more joy than taking. No man can find happiness by keeping all things for himself. No man can remain joyful if he contributes nothing. There is a law as real as gravity. The more you give with purpose, the more you grow in joy. Service is not weakness, it is power. It is the soul's proof that it is alive, worthy, and in rhythm with infinite intelligence. Most men believe they must wait until they are rich to begin giving. But I say, the man who gives with nothing becomes the man who soon has everything. For the man who serves builds himself. The man who lifts others rises with them. The man who contributes to life is rewarded by life. He does not beg for blessings. He becomes worthy of them. When you go the extra mile, not for applause, not for gold, but because it is right, you place yourself under the law of increase. This is a spiritual law. It cannot be broken. It rewards all who obey and punishes all who ignore. Carnegie, in his latter years, found more joy in giving away his fortune than in accumulating it. He gave schools. He gave knowledge. He gave opportunity to those he never met. And when asked why, he said, "Because what I received made me, and what I give completes me." Service is not only an act, it is an identity. The happiest man is not the man who takes all day, who clings to his time and hoards his talents. The happiest man is the man who wakes and says, "Whom shall I bless? What need shall I fill? Where shall I bring my strength?" You were not placed here to take up space. You were placed here to build something, to better someone, to leave the earth more aligned with your definite chief aim. And when your time, your energy, and your focus are given to others with purpose, you feel it, that rich, unshakable joy. I have seen selfish men surrounded by wealth, poisoned by bitterness. And I have seen men of modest means live with peace in their hearts, because they rose each day and served someone greater than themselves. They smiled, they sang, they walked in peace, not because the world gave them all they wanted, but because they gave what they had. Service breaks isolation. It connects you to the stream of life. It opens the door to cooperation, to mastermind alliance, to the deeper realization that no man succeeds alone and no man enjoys success in solitude. The soul was made to extend itself. But here is the key. Service must be without demand. Do not keep score. Do not serve in hopes of applause. Do not ask what you will get. Serve because it builds you. Serve because it aligns you. Serve because it brings you into union with the law of life. The man who waits to be rewarded before he gives is the man who will never be rewarded. The man who gives first, gives fully, and gives with direction. This is the man whom infinite intelligence lifts up and says, "Here is one who understands." Let me speak plainly. If you are unhappy, look for someone to serve. If your joy is low, stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and begin asking, "Whom can I lift?" You will find your spirit rise with each act. You will find your confusion replaced by clarity. You will find your bitterness melt in usefulness. Service is the proof that you believe in your own worth. When you serve, you declare, "I have something to offer. I have power. I have purpose. I am needed. I am part of this great world, and I do not sit idle. I contribute." Let this be your declaration. I serve with joy. I give with power. I lift others and rise with them. In my service I am fulfilled. Do not say these words once. Say them until your subconscious believes them. Say them until your spirit demands that you act upon them. For once you build the habit of service, happiness will become your constant companion. Service does not require grand acts. It requires presence, a word, a gesture, an idea shared, a labor given without complaint, a sacrifice made without announcement. These are the bricks from which true joy is built. And now that you know the law of service, let us study the power that multiplies it. Gratitude. Part 7. The mind that holds gratitude holds happiness. No heart can hold joy if it does not first hold gratitude. Gratitude is not a sentiment for the weak. It is a discipline of the strong. It is the mental posture of the man who sees the good, speaks of the good, multiplies the good, and therefore dwells continually in the vibration of increase. I have met men who had much, yet cursed their lives daily. And I have met others who had little, but whose faces were lit with thanksgiving. One possessed gold, and yet was bitter. The other had only his hands and his breath, and yet he rejoiced. Why? Because joy does not come from possession, it comes from perception. Gratitude is perception trained in the right direction. It is the choice to assign power to the blessings, not to the burdens. It is the refusal to speak lack, when abundance can still be found in breath, in thought, in opportunity, in the smallest forward step. The man who complains digs his own grave. Every word of dissatisfaction is a nail driven into the coffin of joy. He does not know that his words are instructions to his subconscious mind, and the mind, obedient to all repetition, will begin to make his world match his complaints. But the grateful man multiplies his strength. When he thanks God for his definite chief aim, even before it is visible, he aligns with faith. When he thanks life for lessons, even those clothed in pain, he accelerates his growth. When he thanks others, even those who do not understand him, he becomes magnetic to mastermind support. Gratitude does not mean you deny reality. It means you speak life into it. It means you command your attention toward that which lifts, not that which drains. It means you understand this law. What you praise expands. What you curse contracts. Lincoln wrote letters of thanks during the bloodiest days of war. He did not wait for peace to feel thankful. He used gratitude as a weapon to hold his spirit high when all else collapsed. That is not emotion. That is principle. That is command of mind. I myself gave thanks long before riches appeared in my life. I wrote out my chief aim, and I thanked the infinite for its realization daily. I trained my mind to believe it had already happened. I spoke gratitude aloud until the idea became flesh and the vision became reality. Gratitude is not weakness. It is not softness. It is mental mastery. It is the habit of men who refuse to surrender their spirit to circumstance. It is the law of attention, enforced with discipline. So I give you now the daily ritual of joy. Rise and list 3 things you are thankful for, present, not past. Speak them aloud. Do not whisper. Speak them as a man speaks to his maker. Give thanks for the day ahead even before you live it. Give thanks for your chief aim even before you attain it. Give thanks for your challenges, knowing they are your training ground. Give thanks for your own strength because it is yours to command. Say aloud, I already live in abundance. That final sentence is no mere affirmation. It is a declaration of faith. And faith is the medium by which all riches and all joy come to you. Gratitude is the emotion that prepares the field. Faith is the action that plants the seed. Purpose is the law that brings the harvest. Repeat this now. I give thanks. I multiply my joy. I praise what I have. I rejoice in what is coming. Say it again, with your hand on your heart, with full belief. Say it until your whole nervous system adjusts to its rhythm. For the man who lives in gratitude is unconquerable in spirit. He may lose money, but he will regain it with a smile. He may face obstacles, but he will bless the lesson and walk forward. He may be mocked, but his happiness will remain untouched. For it is rooted not in the opinions of others, but in the order of thought he repeats daily. And now that we have established the habits of joy, purpose, growth, service, and gratitude, we must bring them together into a daily system of commanded happiness. Part 8. The daily practice of true happiness. Command your spirit every day. Happiness is not found. It is not stumbled upon. It is not delivered by accident nor gifted by another. Happiness is commanded. It is structured. It is practiced. It is the natural reward of an inner world placed in definite order. The man who experiences joy each day is not lucky. He is disciplined. You have heard the world say some men are just happier than others. That is false. No man is just anything. Every emotion, every state of mind is the product of prior thought, repeated belief, and daily training. Joy is no exception. The man who wakes in joy is the man who built his morning long before it came. Let us be plain. You cannot hope to wake happy if you sleep in chaos. You cannot rise in peace if you fall asleep to complaint. You cannot command your day if your mind drifts in 10 directions the moment the sun breaks the sky. There must be order. There must be instruction. There must be command. I give you now the daily mental regimen of the joyful man. Rise with purpose. Before any other thought is allowed, speak your definite chief aim aloud. This is the throne thought. It rules the rest. It is the foundation of your day. All else flows from the center. Speak the self-confidence formula. Declare your identity. Remind yourself of your worth. Burn the memory of your purpose into your mind by vocal repetition. List 3 blessings aloud, not silently, aloud. Gratitude, when spoken, commands the subconscious. It activates peace. It multiplies what you focus upon. What is praised is magnified. Review your service. Ask yourself, whom will I lift today? What shall I contribute? Where shall I go the extra mile? Not for reward, but for alignment with divine law. Grow one skill or one virtue. Plan a moment in the day to expand. Read one paragraph. Practice one trait. Stretch one muscle of the spirit. Progress is happiness. Movement is joy. Destroy one fear, identify one lie, one hesitation, one weakness that has held you back, and do the opposite of what it commands. Fear dies when action is taken. Close the day in reflection. Do not let the sun fall on chaos. Before you rest, recount what you did with intention, where you stayed in alignment, and where you shall command improvement tomorrow. This daily routine is not difficult. It is not time-consuming, but it is transformative. For the man who performs it faithfully becomes unrecognizable within weeks. He walks taller. He speaks with clarity. He thinks with focus. And most of all, he carries a lightness of spirit that the world cannot touch. The law of cosmic habit force confirms it. That which you repeat becomes law to your subconscious. Your subconscious shapes your moods, your words, your actions, your life. So if you repeat joy, joy becomes identity. If you practice happiness, happiness becomes reflex. But beware, neglect this routine, and your joy will slip. You will fall into the rhythm of drift. You will awaken one day in gloom and confusion, not because life has become worse, but because your thoughts have returned to randomness. And where randomness reigns, joy perishes. You must never forget, happiness is the natural state of the man in definite purpose. It is not a luxury. It is not a rare occurrence. It is the daily result of inner alignment. But only for the man who repeats the laws, who walks with intention, who refuses the poisons of drift, complaint, fear, and indecision. Say this now. This day I command my happiness. I build it through purpose. I protect it through thought. I multiply it through service. I walk with God. I obey the law. I am rich in joy, powerful in spirit, and fulfilled in purpose. Let this be your vow. Let this be your new mental constitution. Let no day pass without renewing it. For in its words lies the secret men have chased for centuries, the secret of true happiness. You now hold it, speak it, repeat it, live it, and happiness shall become your servant for life.